Hello, painting class. In this video, I will be demonstrating how to create your next project, which is your birch tree landscape. In this lesson, we are going to be focusing on neutral colors. So please make sure you check out the Google slide for the terms that you will need to know for this project. Neutral colors are black, brown, grays, whites, and beiges. Neutral colors are not found on the color wheel. Did I say gray and gray? Neutral colors are not found on the color wheel. However, that does not mean they are not important. We see neutral colors all around us. In fact, I'm wearing neutral colors today. We often see neutral colors in the winter when the grass and the leaves turn brown and our sky turns gray and the snow falls. We see lots of neutral colors in the winter and in the fall. So neutral colors are all around us. Artists use them in their artworks, and we're going to be focusing on neutral colors as we create this landscape. We're also going to be learning about what a landscape is. A landscape is a picture of outside. So we are going to be creating a snowy ground with some birch trees and a beautiful neutral colored sky. Our landscapes have a background, a middle ground, and a foreground. And we'll be starting with our background today, which is our sky, and then we will move toward our middle ground, which is our trees, and then lastly the foreground, which is the area closest to us, and painting the shadows of the trees on the snowy ground. So again, be sure to check out those terms. You will need to know them for your unit test on your Google slide. All right, so follow along as I show you how to create this beautiful winter landscape. You are going to need a large piece of paper, preferably 12 by 18. This is heavy drawing paper. If you don't have this large at home, you can make do with a smaller piece. It's just a lot easier if you do. You're also going to need masking tape, pencil and eraser. You are going to need neutral colored paint. Here at school we have this really fun sort of metallic paint that we're going to be using, but if you don't have that at home, that's fine. You can use grays, beiges, browns. You will get to incorporate one or two non-neutral colors just to give our sky some interest. So if you want to choose a blue or purple, and you can see in this example, I chose to incorporate just a little bit of blue, which I know is not a neutral color. It just makes our sky look a little bit more interesting. And in this example, I chose to incorporate some purple, again with those browns and copper tones. And this one I used more of the silvery tones or grays. So you will need acrylic or tempera paint in neutral colors. Along with, you could use blue or purple and incorporate that as well. You will also need black, as we will be, and brown for sure, as we will be adding those colors to our birch tree to enhance the bark. For that, you will need a paper plate and then some sort of thin piece of plastic or cardboard. At school we use these leftover ear tags. An old credit card or room key will work. If you don't have anything like that, you can just use like a thin piece of cardboard, like maybe from a cereal box. We'll be using this as a tool to create that birch tree effect, which I'll be showing you later in this video. All right, so follow along as we create this beautiful winter landscape. To start, you are going to want your paper going horizontal. Make sure it's going horizontal. That way you'll have enough room for your birch trees. And then about halfway or a little less than halfway, you're going to draw your ground line, or otherwise known as your horizon line. Your horizon line is where the sky meets the ground. So you can do a straight line. You can see I made mine a little bit hilly, so it's kind of up to you, but all the way from one side of your paper to the other. Then you're going to take masking tape, and I recommend an odd number. For some reason, when you're making an arrangement of elements in your artwork, odd numbers seem to work out best, but again, I'm not opposed if you would like to use an even number of trees. So I am now taping down my birch trees. So you'll notice that I'll take a long piece and I'm going to actually press the tape onto the table above my paper. And then I want to also make sure that my trees stop at different locations within the ground. We don't want a perfect straight row of trees. This is going to help give the illusion of depth by having some trees finish closer to the horizon line and some further to the bottom. Now you see I have 5. I recommend an odd number. 5 is good, but if you want to do 6 or 7, that's fine too. Also notice that my birch trees are not perfectly straight. Some are just at a slight angle. That also makes it look a little bit more interesting. Now I'm taking my pencil and very lightly just outlining the base. This is below the horizon line of the tree, not the whole thing, just from the horizon line down. Reason being is when we pull the tape up later, you're not going to know where your trees are in the snowy ground. You'll be able to see them in the sky because we're going to paint on top of them, but we're not actually painting in the snowy ground. Now you're going to take your neutral colored paints. Again, I have metallic colors, but you can use regular browns and grays and beiges. And you can incorporate, again, 1 or 2 non-neutral colors just to give your sky some interest. All right, notice that as I'm painting side to side because our sky flows horizontally. So you should have no vertical brush strokes. Want all your brush strokes going side to side. And we don't want a perfectly striped sky. We want our colors to blend together. We want it to look like a realistic sunset. So don't do perfect stripes. Overlap your colors, blend them together. You're painting right on top of your masking tape. So you're not trying to paint around the masking tape. You're going right on top of it. Also, your paint brush strokes are flowing right off the edges of your paper, again, to make sure that all of your brush strokes are going side to side. Here you can see I'm incorporating a little bit of my non-neutral color of my purple. And in our sky, you should have no white. So I'm going to continue to add my neutral colors and a couple non-neutral colors throughout my sky, overlapping them, blending them together so that I have no white space showing. The only white that should be left is in your ground because we do want our ground to be a snowy ground. So I'm taking my paint colors right up along my horizon line all the way across and filling my sky. Once your paint is dry, you've set your painting aside, let it fully dry, then you are going to carefully peel up your tape. And when you do that, you have perfect tree trunks, nice and clean and crisp. Just be careful as you're peeling that up that you don't tear your paper. So you're peeling up all of your tree trunks. And then next we will be adding the details to the birch tree bark to make it look more like a birch tree. And for that, you're going to need a paper plate with a little dollop of black and a little dollop of brown, and then either a thin piece of plastic or cardboard. And we're just using that edge of the plastic or cardboard, and then you're lining it up vertically right along the edge of your tree trunk. And you're just sort of scooting it just to give that bark a little bit of implied texture. You're going to do this to all of your tree trunks on both sides. Once you've completed that bark texture with your black and brown, now you are going to take a little bit of watercolor paints. I forgot to mention you will need watercolors for this project. All we need is black, though, from your watercolor. And the reason why we're using watercolors is because they're a little bit more transparent. It makes it look more like a shadow. So you're just taking a little bit of black from your watercolor palette, adding a little bit of water to the black, and then you can decide where your sun is. I've chosen my sun to be shining from behind my trees, so therefore it's going to cast a shadow in front. If you want your shadows going behind, that's fine. If your sun is in front of your trees, it's really up to you. It's your choice in which way you want your shadows to fall. They just need to be consistent all the way across. There's only one sun, So all the shadows need to fall in the same direction. I hope you enjoyed creating this beautiful winter birch tree landscape, learning about the elements of a landscape and neutral colors. When you're finished, be sure to upload an image of your artwork to Google Classroom to receive a grade.